Hey, you are along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole, the turkey gobbler, Farrell.
Baja, always a friend, sometimes a frenemy.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait.
Man, thank you so much, Mr. Evil Knievel, for those inspiring words. Flying through the air, living in the sunlight, enjoying life as it comes. You know, we don't all have to fly through the air, but man, we should all take a little time to just take in the sunlight and enjoy life.
Yeah, of course. The reason we even get to enjoy the sunlight is because of our brave men and women of our armed forces, our first responders. We cannot be more grateful here at Along for the Ride for these people that let us do this podcast, all the families that are involved of active duty, all the POWs, the KIAs, the MIAs. I say it all the time here, but it's true. We could not do this show without those brave Americans.
Yep, absolutely. 100% respect and for all the service people, all the first responders and their families. Thank you so much on this special Thanksgiving episode of Along for the Ride, episode 62. And man, you know, when I'm along for the ride, when I am so glad that I've got my Kicker Performance audio with me along for the ride because it's just, crank it up, turn the sub up. It's good. It's great. It's balanced. It's perfect audio. Kicker Performance audio. Man, anytime I'm listening to my music, I'm living loud, whether it's in my boat, in the razor, in the truck, you know, at the booth, listening to a power bar. Man, they got you covered on all bases. Find them online, kicker.com, or on Instagram at Kicker Audio. Also, find them live every other Tuesday at, I believe it's 7 Central, at Kicker Unmasked Live YouTube channel. Of course, our man Cole, the Premix podcast, sharing his passion for all things desert racing through the lens of a camera. I think you might have one or two more left this year. People get out there, slide into his DMs on Instagram at the Premix podcast. That's the at symbol. ThePremixPodcast. And line him up to get some pictures of your race rig. And if you need announcer MC work, he is the cat spammers at that too. Keep in mind for all those events you need MC or announcements done, he is booked through 2023. Schedule is full. If you wanted to get him for the end of a year program, too late. Hit him up, get him booked for next year. Do it now. Slots are going fast. Of course, bomber eyewear, bomber safety eyewear, bomber floating eyewear. Man, all the traveling I do, never without my bomber eyewear, whether it's my prescription boogie bombs, the boogie bombs I'm wearing right now in the standard white frame with the dark smoke polarized safety lens, or I'm being cash, hanging out, wearing my pipe bombs, dude. I'm telling you, they got you covered. Over 40 styles of frames. I can't even tell you how many styles of lenses. Look them up online, bombereyewear.com, on Instagram at bombereyewear. Of course, Kelsey Morrell Film, turning all of this audio nightmare into video happiness on our YouTube channel and YouTube podcasts. Find them at MAddOG Media, MAddOG space media, and know they are on there because of the one and only Kelsey Morrell Film. Find her on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film. Of course, Hey Keeks Marketing, keeping us fresh. Everything from backgrounds to templates, website to business cards, design, activation, social media influencer campaigns, whatever you need. Hit her up, yell it out. Hey Keeks. Find her online, heykeeks.com. And of course on Instagram at Hey Keeks Marketing. Dude.
Happy
Holy
Thanksgiving.
cow. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. I'm so excited to get this Thanksgiving episode in, and I want to get through a couple of really cool things that happened this last week. And then I think we're just going to dedicate the back half of the show to Thanksgiving traditions and things we're thankful for. And just good old happiness. So, first of all, Cole, you crew chiefed
Yep.
successfully another D38 race with young Jake Young.
Yep. Yeah. So we had the Veterans Day Dash at Plaster City. Went very well. It was so funny going from, and I'm sorry for everybody who's so sick of me talking about this, but it was so funny going from the 24-hour, which was literally 24 hours, and we had about 15 people total helping us. Now we went to a 100-mile race, and it was Jake and myself. It was total polar opposites. And, selfishly, I have to say, it was really nice to be the only guy in the pits. Like, obviously, the more the merrier. It's always fun to have everybody at the races. But just as far as logistics go, and just as far as cooler heads and knowing how I wanted everything placed, and I wanted the box and where I wanted the gas can and where I wanted to pit, like literally all me, right? So that was great. In the best of ways, not a whole lot to talk about in the race. Like I said, in the best of ways, 100-mile race, 25-mile lap, done 4 times, and we've had some rain here in Southern California as of late. So even when I got on the main graded road and I'm doing my morning 95 miles an hour on the dirt road, there was no dust behind me, and I'm like, wow, this is going to be a really interesting day for those guys because the speeds are going to be way up. But also in off-road racing, you kind of lose your first place advantage when you don't have the dust to block from behind you. But it is generally quite a bit safer to obviously have no dust and to see, but then the speed also gets raised. So it's kind of a mixed bag of tricks. But anyway, got my pit set up how I wanted it. When you have like God talking to you or your guardian angel or somebody or even your conscience, but this guy parked next to us and he's a mature guy. He looked like he was about his mid-50s, and I just have this thing where if I see you're by yourself and have no one to pit for, I can't leave it alone. I can't not say something. And it was one of those things where I felt like the push to get pushed off the truck, go talk to this guy. So I go over there and I said, hey man, do you have anyone to pit for you? And in the heaviest German accent I've ever heard in my life, that was in English, he said, oh, that would be lovely. That would be so great. So shout out to my new friend Max, who did his first District 38 race next to us. And,
awesome.
And this guy he was slender, he was cut, and he was in great shape. And the reason I even mentioned this is he says, yeah, I normally do District 37 with the Shamrocks, but I have to get my strength and my speed up for next year. I said, well, why? What's next year? And he said, well, plus 70 class, of course. I gotta keep in good shape. And I go, dude, there's no way you're 69. He goes, oh yeah, I was born in whatever. I'm like, God dang, dude. So good for you for coming out to the desert race by yourself on a YZ250X at 69 years old to get ready for next season. If that's not inspiring, man, I don't know what is. But
Mad Max at the
Mad
bars.
Max, yeah, I can't wait to see you at the next race, and I'll gladly pit for you
Awesome.
again, Max. But yeah, just like I said, not a whole lot to talk about as far as the actual race goes. I was debating on whether to talk about this portion of it, but I'm kind of an open book here on the show about most things. So I see on the starting line, Jake throws his hands up, and I'm about a half a mile away in my truck, and I'm like, I don't know what the problem is. I can't come to you and work on anything. Uh, we'll talk about this in 4 hours, but I don't know why your hands are up. So Jake, like I said, I think he got a good start. I really don't know. He was kind of too far away. I'm kind of safety first when it comes to desert racing, so sat way quite a bit back in my truck on a ridge. But our competition came in, and he came in like almost right behind the pros. So he started on the third line and was coming in with first and second line guys.
Wow.
And I was by myself in my straw shreddy hat, and I said an expletive out loud of like, this is going to be a long day, you know? And so by the first lap, our competition, Dominic, he had already had a 3.5 minute lead on Jake after 25 miles. And I'm like, dude, this is going to be a long day.
Yeah.
So, Jake and I, we pitted after 2. He was not even breaking a sweat. I filled up the bike. I cleaned his goggles, gave him a splash of water, and he was on his way. I mean, the pit was really fast and it was really easy. And I don't want to sound like a jerk saying it, but it's amazing when you're the only person how smooth things go. It's the old rhetoric of you want to do it right, do it yourself. I mean, that was literally the epitome of it. It was just like, nobody's in my space. I'm going to do it. Like I practiced it in my head 10,000 times. I'm going to do it. And I got him in and out really quick.
Nice.
So anyway, so the leader comes in for his, how do I word this? Jake started his third lap within minutes before the leader did. And why that's important is because if the leader would have caught him before Jake started his third lap, he would have gotten the checkered flag, and we would only done 75 miles, which is what's happened before.
Right.
So it's kind of the issue starting on the third line. But Jake beat the leader by just a few minutes. So I was excited. I go, we're going the full distance. We're going the full 100 miles. Like, this is awesome, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. And it's also a good strategy because everybody that they close the finish line after Jake's already beat them as long as he makes it over the finish line, whether it takes 25 minutes or 2 hours, you know?
Right.
He just has to finish and he'll get a better score. So Jake finishes and he's a few minutes off pace on the last lap. And it's like, you get that little kind of scared feeling when he's running 33, 35, 33. And then the next one's a 39 minute. Like, like I can kind of get nervous, you know, like, what's going on out there? Especially because that WR, we've had some issues with, you know, over the last year and a half. Just staying positive. But anyway, so Jake comes in, and first and foremost, he goes, did you see me raise my hands at the start? I go, yeah, but I don't know what that was about. And he said, well, Dominic started on the first line and we were supposed to start on the third line. So he started with like a 6 or 7 minute head start. So that was like, uh-oh. And I'm like, all right, well, how do I play this? Everybody makes mistakes, but also there's an AMA rule book that I know pretty well. And I also know you have such a protest period that we have to get it done.
Make a decision and do it.
And you know, I just I had this feeling of we've worked too long, too hard, and the points have been too close to just kind of let this go. And I said, man, it sucks if I'm going to sound like a male Karen. Like I know I'm not as bad as motocross dads or whatever, but I'm like, hey, we got to get this sorted out. Cause it just is what it is. Sorry. I'm going to protect my guy first and then figure it out later.
It's all part of racing.
So so we get to timing and scoring, and I'm kind of dragging my feet a little bit cause I'm not looking forward to this conversation, but also I'm like, all right, well, it's got to happen. So I look at timing and scoring, And to my surprise, Dominic got moved up to one class ahead. So he actually started on the right line, but
Ah,
he is now no longer a direct competition with one race after this to go. So that was like the emotional roller coaster of going up to the stewards of like, all right, here we go, protest time. Like, this is
yeah.
not going to be fun to, hey, congrats to Dominic that kicked you out of the class. So that was kind of the emotional highlight of the race for me was that
That's
I was
brutal.
that I was like, all right, I guess we're gonna go to war, but at the same time, Dominic got kicked out of the class for good for him because he's been crushing it all year. But I do feel bad for him because he's done great all year, and we only have one round after this to go, and he's moved up to the amateur class. So it's almost like, yeah, his points carry over, but everything that he was shooting for this year doesn't get seen through because he gets bumped up at the last minute.
Right.
But yeah, so Dominic ended up still getting like 13th overall in his first amateur race. So
Yeah.
yeah, novice
Nice.
is kind of, and we're in the same boat. Like Jake's
Right.
running really well, so I definitely can't dog him for that. But yeah, so that was good that worked out. Jake got P2 in his class, and I think about 22nd overall, which is great. Once again, from the third line, 22nd.
For sure.
I'll take that all day.
Solid run.
And why his last lap was so slow is that the WR curse came back and
Oh,
his
no.
throttle was stuck wide open, and he couldn't get the thing he couldn't roll the throttle back off. And so he ended up shutting the bike off. And he tells this story so funny, and I wish he was on here to tell it. But he said that he shut off the bike and once again said his explicative, and it's just screaming his head off because he was doing so well in this race, and it was the last lap of a 100-mile race. And out of nowhere, some kid comes running in his full gear, and he goes, "What do you need? What do you need?" And he's like, "Whoa, where did somebody come from? I'm in the middle of nowhere." Well, what happened is this kid had blown up his bike, and his dad was coming to rescue him in his 2500 GMC. Well,
Nice.
the GMC was buried in the sand. So this kid's stuck with a broken bike. His dad's got the truck stuck in the sand with all the tools in it. So when Jake shuts the bike off, there's already people right there miraculously with tools going, "What
With
do you need?
tools.
What do you need?"
Nice.
He goes, "Give me a Phillips." And so he pulls the cam off this janky Italian throttle thing he's got and cleans it out, puts it back on, and he was able to finish. But it was like, man, out of this, and 25 miles isn't that crazy, but out of a 25-mile loop to have somebody sitting to where they hear you screaming your head off about an issue, and they're like, "What do you need? I have all the tools because we're going to be here a few hours. What do you need?"
Wow.
So that was just miraculous. But yeah, so he was the last one to finish on his lap. So he was the last person to finish 4 laps, which is totally great. Lost no positions. And then our German friend Max, he was telling me about how he did on lap 1 and lap 2 and all this stuff. And I swear, Lauren, I'm like, dude, I never saw you come through one time. Like, I really need to look at scoring because I was pitting for both guys,
Right,
and I'm
right.
looking like a hawk for the few hours. And I'm like, I never saw Max come through, and he's telling me he did 3 laps, and he's got an IMS Big Desert tank on his YZ. And it's like, dude, it's like not even halfway down. I'm like, no way did you do 75 miles and this 2-stroke only sips so much fuel. So it's kind of, I'm like, there could be some kind of language barrier. Maybe he was saying when the fast guys were on lap 2 or 3, but I'm like, but also I'm like, oh, it took you 4 hours to do 25 miles. Like, God bless you for being out there. And it's amazing at 70 years, almost 70 years
Oh,
old
yeah.
to be doing it. But it was just, I'm like, there is no way in hell you did 3 laps, dude. I was watching. So, yeah, it was really good. Pit went great. Track was awesome. Just all the rain we had, there was no dust. Everybody was happy. Very safe race. And yeah, P2. So, one more to go. Don't want to jinx anything, but
Nice. Stacking points and pushing towards the end, man.
points are looking great. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I want to touch on a couple of things that you talked about there and that I totally feel you on. Number one was the pit thing. It's great to have help in the pits, but if they don't just do it the way you need it done, the way you told them to do it, it's worthless.
Yep.
Because as a crew chief and in essence team coordinator, you have a certain flow and process, whether it makes sense to anybody else or not. There is a certain way that you want things done, and that's how your brain knows things are done, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
I've fought with that before, and in almost every form of racing I've done or crew chiefed in, um, where you get these people that volunteer and they want to help, but um, you know, they don't want to listen, or they want to do it their way, or you know,
It's a high
it,
pressure situation. People get
yeah,
confused. They get, thrown
Vegas
off.
Vegas to Reno, I'm fueling cars, and that bloody camera guy flips the vent cap off of my fuel can. You know, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You have one job. You stand in front of the car with the neon gloves and hold the damn car. You don't touch the gas
That's
can.
it. Yep.
Yeah. I don't care who you are or how big of an internet personality you are. You are stupid right now. And don't touch my stuff. Get away from my pit, you know?
You had one job
So
and you did it wrong, and it's important and you did it wrong.
yeah, and potentially, I mean, in that situation, that's just the most recent for me. But in that situation, that was a critical situation. I mean, my ability to follow the same process and be cautious and do it safely in a high intensity situation was the difference between getting two cars fueled and back on the track, um, within the same time frame that they came in or ahead of other cars,
Yep.
and 8 people burning to death in gasoline fires,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and that's the bottom line. So, if you're going to volunteer to be on a crew, people, listen to the crew, the crew chief, the team coordinator. They have a reason for doing things the way they're doing it. And don't be afraid to ask after the race,
Yeah.
but don't question it before or during.
Yeah.
Just do
Yeah.
it, you know. And I deal with that sometimes on doing events, man.
For sure.
I am very, very, I do this setup in most cases, like just this, the setup I do for Kicker Performance Audio, I may do 25 to 30 times a year. And to make sure you get it done right and things get put away right and everything gets stored properly and everything's safe, I have a process.
Yeah.
And when you mess with it, it messes me up and costs time. So I totally get that. The other side of it, the other thing I wanted to highlight on is, I've been on that both sides of the protest.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I've been on the being protested against side about 100 times more than I have been on the protest side. But both sides, it's like it's never a super comfortable situation, but it is, I looking back, of course, like when we were karting, man, we got protested all the time. Um, when I was circle track racing, we got protested occasionally. Um, and it's like, uh, maybe some of it was justified, but they never found anything. I was never penalized. So, um, and that's, if it's not in the rule book, it's legal till they write a rule about it.
Absolutely.
I think that was Smokey Unick, wasn't it?
I
Or,
I,
da-
I
or
think
Daryl Waltrip.
I think you told me it was Smoky, and
Yeah.
I would have to look that up. But yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's definitely stuff. But yeah, either way, it's one of those things with racing, but it is one of those things that happens. Um, and so, is what it is. Um, with that, speaking of protests and news and all that, how about the man? I didn't watch it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not hyper educated on it, so um, I don't know that I'm qualified to comment too much about the F1 race in Vegas, other than I've seen even in IndyCar races, street races, where they've sucked manhole covers up because somebody missed welding it. Um, so if you've seen it, you would think F1 and especially Las Vegas, who destroyed the entire city to build one of, thankfully, apparently it was a quite exciting race. I'm not going to stay up till midnight or 1 in the morning to watch an F1 race because it's, I can see the highlights on social media later. That's how much I care. Um, but safety issues like not welding down uh, steel covers, um, man, shame on F1s, shame on Vegas. Um, that's just dumb. I mean, there's no other way to explain it. It's happened in other series. There's background, there's precedents. You've seen it happen. How, like, how does it happen there?
I mean,
These
we
cars
we look
make,
back at the movie Driven from the year 1999 with Sylvester Stallone,
right,
and they're pulling over manhole covers, and that's a movie, but it definitely happens. The cars make so much downforce. If you flipped them upside down, they would fly, right? So
right.
it's not illogical to think that manhole covers could come off.
Yeah. And that being said, F1 probably makes some of the biggest downforce numbers of any series.
It's got to be number one because I don't think LMP cars make quite as much as they do.
Yeah, no, I mean it's massive the amount of downforce. So, you know, common sense out the window, practical thinking out the window. But man, spend $1,000 to watch practice. It didn't happen.
For 8 minutes. And I think before you lose it, I think you were getting to a good point about penalties, is how we bridge this.
Yes, and that's where I was going with that. Obviously I got off on the rant about F1, FIM and Vegas being reckless and endangering the lives of racers unnecessarily. But the point I was getting to was the penalty, not to mention the financial drama, but the penalty laid out for having to replace components. I understand it if you over rev a motor and blow up a motor, or you get too hot into a corner and lose it. Um, then I understand why they have rules like that. But if it's something that your governing body could have prevented, that just oversight, oh, our bad, we destroyed your car completely and you have to replace everything from the engine to the power saving to the monocoque. Basically, and they don't run the tires again. So I don't know what they reused. Maybe the wing, um, maybe the nose bodywork. Who knows? But to put someone 10 spots back on the grid because you fucked up is wrong. I detest it. I would be so angry that the Mad Dog would definitely be out and probably suspended for the rest of the F1 season. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
so
Just
just
rotten, just smells like lutefisk, rotten fish.
as a Norwegian, I take a test to that. But just so we're extremely clear for those who did not see what happened, as Lauren said, a manhole cover came off on the track because the cars make so much downforce, it lifted the thing up. That is Formula One's fault. That's a huge safety issue.
Yeah.
It damaged Carlos Sainz's Ferrari. It broke the chassis. The engine was damaged. And in Formula One, as Lauren said, there's penalties for that, for having a damaged engine and chassis. Normally that's your driver's fault or your own team's fault. The track damaged the car and they still got penalized. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's like, I know you're big, we'll get into it someday, but you're a big rugby player. That's like you breaking your ankle on the rugby field because the thing's in such poor condition, and then you get penalized for breaking your ankle because there's a pothole in the middle of the field.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it just stinks. It's, my understanding is with, during the race, he made a hell of a drive and incredible last lap pass to end up P2, I believe.
That was his teammate, but still a good run for Ferrari. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But nonetheless, man, a 10 spot penalty,
Brutal.
Yeah. And it was because, in essence, what they call their power storage device had been replaced twice this year, and you're only allowed to, is my understanding of
Correct.
it.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll get all kinds of comments that I'm a dumbass and don't know what I'm talking about.
And then they'll bring up
that's
the
real
Formula One stuff.
possible.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, there's that too. But this was his third one. It was damaged beyond use. And so that's what caused the 10 position penalty on the start. It's just sad. That just pissed me off.
And getting that penalty on the penultimate round, for something that wasn't your fault. And one round to go after this, and 3, you're docked 10 spots, which is almost half the field, which is horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I feel like conversely, like maybe you shouldn't have spent quite as much time figuring out what colors we're not going to put on the sphere so that it doesn't distract, quote, in quotations, the best drivers in the world, which, sidebar, if they're the best drivers in the world, the damn sphere is not going to distract them.
No, and you would...
Maybe you should have spent that time that you wasted on the sphere welding manhole covers or checking the track. Just my opinion.
That would make too much sense. The only thing I can even relate that to is think of going to K1 go-karts or something and think how hard you have to actively look at the scoreboard to see where you're at. Because as a driver, you're looking at your braking points, your apexes. You're not looking at the sphere of Las Vegas. Yeah.
Right.
Ridiculous.
You're not taking in the sights on a racetrack.
You're going a little too quick.
There was very few racetracks I ever took in the sights.
No, never. Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Almost none.
And if you did, you weren't going fast enough, or the car was broken, or the bike was broken.
Or the bike was broken. Yeah, when you're coasting and just hoping you make it, you do take a little time to look around. Oh, look at that! Isn't that nice? Look at that chick in the grandstands.
Speaking of grandstands, Nick Grenlin was out there. To our boy Nick Grenlin. Yep.
Our man Nick,
Vegas resident, hanging out, holding it down.
Yep, for sure. So, yeah, anyways, I guess it was a super exciting race. And I'm happy that at least they had a good race somehow because all the slob leading up to it, all the negativity with everything from price gouging to manhole covers is just, a big black eye on the whole thing. Hopefully, apparently they have a 10-year deal.
Yep. Correct.
And hopefully next year they've learned and they do a better job and get it figured out. So moving on from that, congratulations to whoever finished 1, 2, 3. And I'm really sorry, Carlos Sainz, that you're not only did your car get destroyed, I don't care what brand, it could be a French Renault and I would feel bad that it got destroyed.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that your car got destroyed. and I'm sure that you probably need some traction and a back massage after seeing your car self-destructing under your ass, um, and maybe some hemorrhoid medicine. But
Well,
nonetheless, I'm sorry you got the penalty. I'm sorry your car was destroyed. Um, and we're going to move forward from that to the legendary Baja 1000, one of the longest ever Baja 1000s, and the first time, as I understand, first time, correct, that they've
yep.
run from La Paz to Ensenada.
Yep. First time, and you
Run
nailed
it
it.
backwards, so to speak.
Second longest score race ever. So only second to the Baja 2000 in the year 2000. But yep, it just got done and dusted, and it did not disappoint whatsoever. Yeah, this is the first year I've noticed that their media team was on top of it. How they collected and shared social media and live timing was fantastic. We talk about it all the time in the show. Fishgistics, Austin Fish Farner absolutely killed it with hourly updates, and he did it for 22 hours straight or something.
Does an
I
awesome job.
Yeah, so all of that put together, an insane course, all that put together. I already can't wait for next year's 1000.
Yeah, it was crazy, and there were some great stories out of it. Um, Congratulations to my good buddy Brandon Sims, who I think ran the Pro Turbo class UTVs and pulled out a second place. Um, Congratulations to Team Polaris Razor, who's managed by the one and only Craig Scanlon, my good buddy. Congratulations, Craig, on your first team um, win. And I believe that put him right up there in the championship. Um, so there's I had a lot of friends involved with the race. I had a few friends in the race, um, particularly Charlene Bauer, the one and only Charlene Bauer, Bauer Motorsports Media, and the Ladies Off Road Network. Um, Her first ever Baja.
Jeez.
She ran in the BC class, the Baja Challenge
Yeah.
class, and co-drove actually in the BC one car, and they won.
Congrats.
So that's pretty rad. Um, Special hair flip, Charlene, just for you. Congrats, great job. Really happy and excited for you. Um, and man, everybody that made it to the finish, rather, dude, even Tominori Noto, who I worked with on the 2021 um, Vegas to Reno with the Toyo Tires Japan group, um, who broke 4 miles from the finish, 4.8 miles from the finish in Vegas to Reno. Man, he ran a Lexus, and it appeared very stockish
Yeah.
Lexus. And they finished.
Yeah.
They missed the time frame. Um, they did not officially finish, but they finished the course, and just monstrous, vicious course. With that, I think the entire story of the entire Baja Fish score. I mean, every race team was on it. Is the Flying Dutchman 741X Vulter Cole? How do you say it?
All right.
Vulter.
I'll take the embarrassment on this one.
You got this.
Wouter Jean V. Deich.
Dice, okay.
Wouter Jean V. Deich is what I'm trying. And if we ever get him on the show, he can correct me someday. But 741X is what we're going to call you for the remaining time.
Yeah. So this, well, Cole, tell us the story because you're the moto guy here. So give it to us.
Man, I wonder how many people are going to get already somewhat sick of this story, but this is so exciting to share for those who haven't
I
heard.
think it's just cool.
It is so, so cool. And I need to preface this by saying you always see in the movies where things build hype as they go, especially sports movies where somehow the town is all crowded around the radio, and by the big games ending, like everybody knows about it. Well, this was actually happening because of the social media days,
For sure.
and it started a few days before. But the story, very, very insane, is let me check my notes. Is Voter, or we think Voter is a Dutchman,
Vuthor.
Voter,
Maybe.
out of Australia. So he's a Dutchman who lives full time in Australia. He flew to the States, bought a Craigslist bike in San Diego, and
Yes.
bought it. You know, we've all made Craigslist purchases. My God, what a risky one this was. So he buys his bike in San Diego and he rides it down to the start line in La Paz, which is no joke. It's about 1,300 miles on pavement. So he gets to tech inspection and it was spot on, like the world's fastest Indian, where they go, you can't race this thing. The tires are bald. You don't have
Yeah.
the Stella unit. You don't have this. You know, you need some safety gear. You got to have a sat phone. And it's like, okay, I'll figure it out. And so, dude, there's so many parallels between this movie, and I wish everybody who's listening had seen this, but between the world's fastest Indian, where people are already starting to build the hype on this guy. Like, whoa, you rode this thing down, and okay, well, I'll get you tires. I'll get you this. I'll get you this. I got a wiring guy. We'll figure out the Stella unit. But yeah, he rode all the way down to the start line, had to get the bike ready, and Ironman all the way back up to Ensenada. Took him, I don't know, 50 something hours, and the hype had been building as he was going. So people are writing on cardboard, you know, Ironman, stop here for Coke, ice cold beer, tacos, whatever. Because in today's social media, people are hearing the story as it's happening live, and they're saying, okay,
Yes.
well, he should be here in a few hours. We'll sit him down in the chair, get him by the fire. We'll dry his clothes. We'll do all this stuff. So yeah, by the time this guy was to mile 500, he was already a rock star in the off-road motorsports world.
Yes.
Because you couldn't go on Instagram without hearing about it, and it was just miraculous. And I've seen some people online trying to take away a little bit, saying, oh, well, he is a good rider. He's done Red Bull Romaniacs and stuff. And it's like, great. If he has the talent, cool. But also he rode a gosh dang bike that he bought on Craigslist to the start line and raced it. And it just insanity.
Yeah, it's crazy. And what really got me, part of what got me was the outpouring from everybody. It didn't even matter. I think there was a trophy truck pit
Yeah.
that took him in
Uh-huh.
and like helped him warm up and gave him a drink, gave him some Gatorade and fed him some food and
Sit him in the
you know,
chair.
yeah, and there's just like, fans that were like, "Hey, stop here," and fed him tacos and and he made it in time.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
finished in the Ironman class. Not only finished in time, he wasn't dead last.
No, and it was raining when he's out there after he's been on the bike over, almost 2 days worth of riding. And
Yeah.
yeah, and let me be very clear. If you do the race at all, you're gnarly. If you do an Ironman, you're absolutely insane. This guy just had such a big hype because of the story, and he had such a good attitude. And not taking anything away from the other Ironmen, but this was just such a goofy, relatable, wild story that it just hopefully it's a movie someday or something.
Yeah, for sure. Nah, I think that was a big feel good from all of the Baja 1000. Congratulations to all my friends that finished. And congratulations to Charlene Bauer and the Baja Challenge 1 team, all girl team, I think,
Very cool.
that won. um, the Baja Challenge, took the overall for Baja Challenge. So super rad there. And man, we just been, I have been going crazy, just stacking events on events, and we just wrapped up the 2023 Sand Water RV Expo in Lake Havasu, where I was fortunate enough to share a booth with my good friend Rod from Gator Wraps. Of course, they've done my truck. They redid the Razor, do beautiful work, and it was really cool to split. This is kind of one of those I look forward to because we split the booth with Rod, and so Rod and I get to hang out. And we got over there. Funny story, they had all the, it's a new promoter for that first year last year, and he definitely made some mistakes last year and made some errors and calculation errors. Um, but he fixed them, a lot of them for this year, which was well done. Um, and they, unfortunately, the state park, when you're setting up things on their pavement, you don't drive stakes, you don't put markers, you don't paint, you use chalk. Well, it was great. They had their entire vendor area mapped out Wednesday, and it rained Wednesday night here. Um, so when we got there Thursday, uh, late morning or around noon to set up, and they were scrambling feverishly, not only to find any like leftovers of their chalk marks and remark booths, and Mr. Darrell had a mess on his hands, and kind of put us in a spot where we had the choice of a couple of premium spots that we wanted, and I believe we made the right choice in the one we picked. Gave us some extra links, so I was able to park the old Captain America grinder right at the end of the booth. We got all the base set up, and man, got her finished up Friday morning, got opened up, and we have really good traffic. The weather was beautiful for a Friday in Havasu. Super solid traffic, great event. Of course, wrapped it up Friday. Um, Hit my typical road food, even though I was not staying at home
Uh-huh.
because I'm a little bit remote from the city. I did stay in the local hotel there, so I hit my local Jimmy John's.
Nice.
Um, yeah, for my typical road food, safe food, um, dude. And on to Saturday, and great day Saturday, long day. I mean, I was there at 7 because I had to pack everything up Friday night for the most part, all the displays, anything like that. And then I had to unpack it all again Saturday morning,
Fun.
and it was a 9 a.m. start. So, I got there early. Um, Man, it was just great. I talked to so many people about Lost My Voice. Super cool. I had a lot of friends swing by. A lot of my neighbors from over here came by and visited.
Nice.
Got to see. You remember our good friends Barb and Lance Roland?
Oh, no way. Yeah, because
Yeah,
they're making their way out there for life, which is rad.
yeah. So they stopped by and was able to visit with them for a bit, and of course, Casey and Terry, Terrian, sorry, and great visit with them. And short because I was busy, man. I was on the run, so um, we packed it all down, and thanks to my boy Robert from Gator Wraps, helped me pack my stuff up. Uh, I was mid pack up, and he was kind of fighting getting their 10 by 10 down. I went over and helped him get it all down, get his stuff packed, ready to transport, and then got back on mine. And he jumped in with me and helped me out immensely. And I was super grateful for that. Um, sometimes I forget it's interesting to watch people, haven't set up or broke down pop up, you know, 25 times a year for 7 years. Um, to watch them struggle, I forget, because all that stuff is so automatic for me anymore. It's like, I know this process. Okay, the ground's like this. This is what it's going to take to do it. Here's what I got to do, kind of thing. So, but it was interesting. It was kind of a mental checkup for me. It's like, hey, you're really blessed and lucky to be able to do what you do. And with that, being blessed and being fortunate, I am so thankful for the opportunities. And here's where we're going to switch gears and go to the Thanksgiving portion of our episode. Um, Remember, folks, it's not just about turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, and stuffing. It's about being thankful. Take a look around. Be thankful for our service people. Be thankful for our first responders. Be thankful for those who have served, our veterans, and what they've given. Be thankful to the families of those, and be thankful for those that have been KIA or who are still MIA. And of course, your families, you know, your friends, your dear friends. Man, folks, just take a minute, take a breath, look around. I guarantee you, within a 90-degree sweep of where your eyes are currently at, you'll find something to be thankful for if you really look for it,
Yeah, great way to put that.
you know. And yeah, and man, I love Thanksgiving because for me, for so many years, Thanksgiving has been about family, about getting together with family. Of course, my family's all up in Oregon, with the exception of Keeks, who's down here, and we'll be spending Thanksgiving, and then we'll be heading back up to the Great White North for a few months to do some work up there. And who knows, don't know if she'll be back down or not. Things are going good. So, um, you know, and on top of that, how thankful I am to have had Keeks here for the time that she's been here and been able to help us and help me grow the social media presence of Along for the Ride, along with Mad Dog Media. And believe it or not, her advice on things I take very seriously, because she is um, the best at what she does. And
Undoubtedly.
it's one of those things where, people go, oh, well, you listen to your kid. And I'm like, they're really good at what they do. Yes, I do. And I respect how good they are, whether it's Kelsey with the film stuff, Keeks with uh, her side of the marketing stuff, um, social media stuff. Uh, Man, even like you know, the oldest who's a pastry chef and busted her butt to become a pastry chef. Um, I am not a pastry guy. I'm not a dessert guy. I love desserts. I love pastries, but I'm not a chef that ever handled any of that. And even my little admin monster, she's works HR and basically payrolls, stuff like that, which and the numbers and the stats, and you know she's like the striking Viking when it comes to that. She's got it. And so, very blessed, very thankful to have all the family. Um, we're going to have a little get together here, and of course, somewhere else have a tradition called Pie Night.
Yeah, even I know
And
about Pine Nut.
yeah, it's funny because I got a text from our good friend Uncle Sethro.
Oh yeah? What up, Seth?
Former quad freestyle athlete, and um, commercial construction video and stills maestro.
Photographer extraordinaire, writer,
Yes, writer,
super dad.
great driver, great rider. Yeah, Seth, I love you. I hope you listen. Got a text from him, and he's actually doing a pie night with his. I wouldn't call it youth group, whatever the next version up from that is.
Young adult, something.
Young adult group with his church. So
Sweet.
the Morel tradition out in North Carolina, I might
Yeah,
add.
you're
So
you're multi-coast now. Look at
yeah,
you.
we are nationwide, man. So, um, and we're going to have, we're opening our home up to a bunch of our friends out here, and several of us are getting together for Thanksgiving dinner. We're going to do at our clubhouse, and so I'm really looking forward to that. And a lot of these people are family. They're not my direct family. They're not blood, but they're good friends, and I really look forward to Thanksgiving with them. Um, Man, I'm so thankful for all of our fans, and just the opportunity to do along for the ride. I mean, you know, I talked about it. People pushed me and have been pushing me for 5 years to do something like this. And, you know, Cole, thank you for making it happen. Those of you who haven't heard the beginning, please go back to episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, we call the Cole 9 Yards.
Yeah.
And episode 5 is the Cole 9 Yards part 2. And please tune into those. But this none of this would be possible without Cole. So I'm very thankful for you, little brother. And of course, the striking Viking, man, where would I be without her? I'd probably have more hair, but I'd be, maybe a little less stressed. Who knows? But speaking of the striking Viking, uh, you know, one of the things I'm super thankful for this year is her book.
Yeah, of course.
She got completed. It's been an incredible labor of love. We're seeing sales grow consistently. We're seeing uh, reviews come in, and very positive reviews. Just had an in-person review last night
Oh, wow.
from a friend of ours that we didn't even know bought the book and
Oh,
read it.
cool. That's really cool.
And it was a very raw, very positive review, and it just makes you feel good.
For sure.
And for those of you listening, you can find it on Amazon, or on Amazon. You can buy the paperback, or you can buy the Kindle version. It's called Everything and Nothing by Karina Morel, and look it up. I got a feeling it's in the next year or so, it's going to go really, really, really big. It's that good.
I
So,
believe that too. And I recommend buying both versions because, yeah, you should own both.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for that solid endorsement. Um, yeah, man. What about you? Thanksgiving traditions. What do you got?
I was kind of picking my brain here, and in the
I
in the
know the
fun
desert.
in the funniest way, it's as a kid, it was just so cut and dry. Like you see the family members that now I haven't spoken to in 20 years or whatever, but it was just the classic be at my grandma's on my mom's side. And I always have this memory of it being ungodly hot here in Southern California every Thanksgiving. So my cousins and I would usually play like wiffle ball or football or shoot BB guns or whatever. And you get completely ruin your nice clothes, and then you eat too much food, and then you feel sick, and then you drink Martinelli's and you have a headache, and then you eat a little bit more food, and then you're still hot. So that's kind of my childhood memory of Thanksgiving. As a young single adult, we really got into doing Day of the Dirt, which is a Red Bull event that kind of jumped around between LACR, Paula, and Glen Helen, and
Yep.
that's 3 days of racing. But my God, it is the most expensive motocross Grand Prix race on earth, and I will stand behind that. Spending money I didn't have back then was really fun. And then, now as I get a little older, as a married guy, it's definitely more complicated now because I definitely try to do one day in the desert if I can. But then, I got two sides of my family and then my wife's family, and then they come, some of them come into town. So I can't even say that I have a tradition anymore because it just spreads all around. But it's a good problem to have compared to being alone. That's for sure.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's funny, talking about Thanksgiving as a kid, of course, growing up in Canada, we celebrated in October.
Yep.
So, but it's all the same. Like it's turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, and stuffing, a lot of times, we would have that would be the fancy, Thanksgiving. We'd have the fancy Thanksgiving, and then we'd have ham at Christmas, or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Ham is the way to go, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a turkey guy.
Okay, well, this is where we differ, and this is the last episode of this podcast, and it's been fun.
Yeah, I'll miss you. No, it's I don't mind ham and turkey.
Oh, good point.
And realistically, if we could throw ham, turkey, and maybe some tacos in
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
chips and salsa and mashed potatoes and gravy, I would be I wouldn't get off the couch. You just
Dude,
bring me plate after plate.
yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this. I hope, because that means people are listening. But my
Yes.
my perfect meal, and I'm gonna make it one year. I swear, when the ball's finally in my court, it's gonna be steak, kielbasa, and mac and cheese. That's what I'm serving for Thanksgiving.
I love it.
Yeah,
Actually, that's brilliant.
yeah, I like kielbasa. That's a Mike Farrell specialty, and
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good stuff. Uh, yeah, man, that would be good. And mac and cheese. Mm.
Yeah, out of the blue box, of course. I mean, I'm
Oh, no. Like
yeah.
homemade.
I'm no aristocrat, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I work
No,
for a living.
I would have to, I'd have to bring my chef daughter down to make me her 5 cheese homemade mac and cheese.
Okay, well, I
That's
don't doubt that it would be incredible.
Yeah, I've made some good stuff, some good smoked mac and cheese. But man, uh, yeah,
Yeah, get the little
there's
crust on top.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, dude, 100%. So
I'm surprised we're talking about this at 9:30 at night, but
I know when folks
oh,
bear
sorry,
with us,
10:30 your
'cause,
time.
yeah, pretty close to it.
Whoops.
So folks, bear with us if we sound a little loopy or a little tired. It's a late one tonight due to some scheduling snafus, but we're able to get it. Um, we've got a solid lineup coming up of guests. Um, one we were going to have on our Thanksgiving episode, but we just couldn't put the final schedule together. But I guarantee you'll enjoy it
Yeah,
when we get there. It's going to be a goodie. And, other than that, listeners, thank you. Thank you for being consistent. Thank you for supporting us. Um, thanks for helping us continue to grow and grow and grow. Keep referring us to people. And don't forget, Cole, do the speech.
make sure to rate, review, subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.
Yeah, that definitely. Say it
Do
again,
that.
just because it sounds good.
Yeah, but it won't be. Make sure me. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.
That's beautiful, man. That's just so
Thanks.
beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah. Speaking of thanks and Thanksgiving and being thankful, we're so thankful for our awesome partners, Kicker Performance Audio. Find them online, kicker.com, on Instagram at Kicker Audio, and of course, on YouTube every other Tuesday at 7 Central. On their YouTube channel, Kicker Unmasked Live for their live TV show. Bomber Eyewear, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear with over 40 styles of frames and so many styles of lens options. I can't even begin to count. Hit them up, look them up. BomberEyewear.com. Bomber on Insta at Bomber Eyewear. Of course, the Premix Podcast. Where would we be without Cole? I'm thankful for Cole. I'm thankful for his passion for desert racing that he's been getting out to the public through the lens of a camera. I'm thankful for things that we may or may not be planning for next year. And man, I'm thankful that I shoved a mic in his face one day and said, "Hey, you got this," at an event in front of 5,000 people.
I'm very thankful as well.
And he jumped into it and makes a little side living off of that. So if you need to book him, you need to book him now for 2024. If you got a race coming up, he's going to be at it, a desert race. Hook him up, line him out to get some shots of you. Find him on Insta at the Premix Podcast, all one word. The at symbol ThePremixPodcast.
Sound like an old car lot jingle. That was fun.
Yeah, that was kind of. I will stand up on my head till my hair is turning red. Go see Cal. Go see Cal. Go see Cal.
Perfect. Yep. That's where I was going with. Yep.
Yeah. And of course, Kelsey Morrell Film. Find her on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film for all your video, whether it's video production, video recording, still photos, editing, shorts, building shorts for your YouTube channel, or getting your podcast produced and up on the Mad Dog Media YouTube and YouTube podcasts. Kelsey Morrell Film on Insta at Kelsey Morrell Film. And where would we be without our little brilliant social media guru? But she doesn't just do social media. Hey Keeks can handle everything from your website to website maintenance. Need a shopping cart added? Hit her up. Need a social media influencer to represent your brand? Hit her up. Or you just need your social media managed, locked in, controlled? Yell it. Hey Keeks. Find her online, heykeeks.com, or on Instagram at heykeeksmarketing. Man, I'm really looking forward to Thanksgiving. I'm so thankful for all our fans, our partners, our listeners, our loyal listeners. I wish I could name them all. But special shout out to our long time loyal listeners, Crazy and Dr. Watson. Of course, our good dude at Rotation Motorsports BC. And thank you again, Greenball GBC Tires. I just put another 3,000 miles on that trailer, and those tires are just gold.
Dependable.
Yep, absolutely. So thankful. This is an unpaid solicitation. They make a good tire. You should try them. And, of course, Rob McDonald, our crazy Canuck.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in to every single episode. Special shout out to my dude, Adam at Endurocross. I'm glad you're listening. I didn't even know you were a listener, but I'm so thankful that you are. I hope you've enjoyed the last recap of the Endurocross. Great job on wrapping the season. And speaking of wrapping, I think we should wrap it. Cole, what you got?
Last thing I will say is my favorite holiday is your Pie Night, which is the night before Thanksgiving, because it's usually a 4-day week and all the high school bros are in town usually, and you see them at the local pub, and that day is magical.
Yes, awesome. And that day is the day after tomorrow, bro.
Oof, I'm excited. I'm hydrated and I'm ready.
Yeah, I was gonna say get hydrated. Make sure you got your liquid IV.
Yeah, that stuff's good.
Right on. Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving to you, Lauren. I'm thankful for you, in case I didn't say it enough on this podcast.
Thank
Thankful
you.
for everything you've done. I could do a whole 3 episodes on all the things you've done for me in my life, and yeah,
We
the
got
word
no comment.
the word thankful is not a good enough adjective, but it's what I have in my vernacular.
I will take that. Vernacular. That's a big word, man. Well done.
Thanks.
Golf clap.
Golf clap.
No, seriously, man. Thank you. Thank you for making this podcast possible. And folks, give your loved ones a hug. Tell them thank you for being around. Tell them you love them. Life is short. You got a problem, get over it, move on. Be thankful that you wake up every morning, take a great big breath. Mad Dog out.